Projects contain all of your user research data. Depending on the type of data you have and how you work, a single project could represent many things. You might want to create a new project for each research activity within your organization, or create a project for storing all of your customer interview transcripts. Projects can be grouped into custom categories. You might use categories to separate projects by different departments within your organization. Let's start by creating a new project. When you click New Project, you'll have the option to start with a blank project, or from any templates that have been created in your workspace. We'll cover using templates in a later video, so for now, let's choose Blank Project. After creating a new project, you'll be taken to the Project README. The README is the single source of truth for your project. From the README, you can name your project and select an icon for it. This is how others in your workspace will identify your project. Use the README to describe your project and provide context for others in your organization. For example, you could describe your research goals and plan, your participant recruitment requirements, or capture your customer interview schedule. Dovetail can be used for a variety of research methods, but for our project, we're going to write a rough discussion guide for our customer interviews. Now let's add some research data. In Dovetail, research data is stored in notes. Depending on the type of research you're doing, a note can represent many things. For example, you might create a note for your observations taken during a customer interview, a response from a survey that you received, a transcript of a customer interview transcribed from a video or audio file, a tweet that mentioned your company or brand, a support ticket from a customer. Notes can also be imported into Dovetail from a spreadsheet or created through integrations with other apps, survey tools, and customer support software via our Zapier integration. We recorded the interviews we scheduled, so let's get started by uploading one. After our video has finished uploading, we can click Begin to start a transcription. In a few minutes, we'll get a machine-generated transcript back. Our speech engine is trained on over 50,000 hours of human-transcribed content across a diversity of topics, industries, and accents. We can make any edits to the transcript inline. Click to seek, name and change speakers, split monologues, and more. To help with our analysis and building a searchable research repository, we're going to add some fields to our node. Fields add structured data to notes, and the data you store can be used to segment and filter notes. Fields can also be used to store quantitative data. You could create a field to store information like company size or annual spend. In a usability test, you could create a field for capturing a usability score or the number of errors observed during a test. Dovetail helps you analyze your raw qualitative data, so you can identify and keep track of patterns that emerge across your research data. The power of Dovetail lies in inline tagging, which we call highlighting. Highlights are added to content inside notes. A single highlight can have one or many tags associated with it. Let's create some highlights and tags on our interview transcript. Start by selecting a range of text. You can then type to search for tags. As no tags exist in this project yet, let's go ahead and create some. Now that you've created some highlights and tags, let's get them organized. Just like notes, tags can be organized into boards and groups. Any tags created from notes will show up in the first group on your board. You can group your tags using drag and drop. Customize the colors for both groups and tags, and make changes in bulk. A bit like affinity mapping, groups and color coding can be used to find themes and patterns across the tags you've created. Click through each tag to reveal all of the highlights of that tag. From here, we can play each highlight from the transcript and watch the exact moment from our interview. Use charts to quickly get an overview of how frequently themes are mentioned across your research data. Let's filter our chart to help paint a picture of the activities that were most frequently mentioned across our interviews. From our interviews, we can see that meetings, focus time, and planning came up frequently, signaling that there might be opportunities for the team in these areas. Of course, you can click through to each tag and reveal more context. You can also change the metric from highlight count to note count, or the tag text volume, helpful for forming understanding of how much importance the subject places on a topic. In the Highlights view, you can review the tags and their associated highlights across all your notes. Let's add a filter to see all of the highlights in our project that are tagged with focus time. We can also refine our filter further by narrowing it down to the participants who belong to a specific demographic segment. We can now quickly see all of the observations we've recorded across our interviews, revealing all of the interviews where a participant mentioned focus time. Let's select these highlights and create a new insight. We'll call it Focus Time is Important. Insights help you summarize your research findings. Think of them as lightweight blog posts. Let's open the draft insight that we just created from the Highlight view. In our insight, we can see the highlights we added. Let's add some more context and describe our insight in a little more detail. We'll also add a cover photo to make it look more visual. You can build out your insight with more detail by embedding references to relevant evidence like notes, tags, quotes, and media from your analysis. Let's embed a reference to our focus time tag. And to one of the notes from our testing sessions that was particularly interesting. When your insight is ready, time to make it published. Insights can be shared with others in a simple, attractive format, including with people who don't have a Dovetail account. Present user research insights on the big screen with our new full screen presentation mode and quick keyboard navigation. Save time by avoiding the need to copy and paste data from other tools into slideshows and reports that need to be designed from scratch. Pull stakeholders into the conversation to discuss your research findings with comments.